you obviously canceled your appearance at Progpower. Something that I do want to say to people, that you didn't do the typical, oh, I'm going to cancel because of this, and then all of a sudden you go and apologize for it. You obviously stick by what you said. But let's talk a little bit about that before we go on why you wanted to cancel it. And, I'm curious, was it you that wanted to give the reasoning behind it, or did they tell you have to give your reason? I mean, how did that whole thing, what happened with that? And, give us a little clarification.
It was the second. I actually, if I would have decided, or if I differently. First of all, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings with my decision to don't go. It was something that I really, and we at the band felt, no, with all this shit going on, we don't really feel good in doing it, and so we decided to cancel it. So we let the festival know, and they said, "Oh, come on, yeah, we can understand." But our fans are so we have so many. Our fans are so intimate with it, and blah blah blah, and so they deserve to hear the truth from you. And so I said, yeah, okay, all right, then they get the truth, and that's why. That's why. If it would have been my decision, I would have only said, we cannot come. I'm very sorry. Hope to see you some other time.
Yeah.
And then there would have been no shitstorm and no discussion and no nothing. And so, well, I mean, we decided to do so, which I think in the end is okay. Of course, it polarized. Or people were getting angry about us, and some other people said thumbs up. Everybody, I mean, you have to decide that for yourself. How you look at the situation. Also, right now, I can say that I still feel good with the decision. I don't really see that things have calmed down, and that the ground for coming to the States has changed. And I mean, there's a lot of icy stuff going on. People are getting detained, and most probably nothing would have happened to us. But we just talked about cancer. I really did not defeat cancer to get stuck in a U.S. Detention cell for a month or so.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like that. And just one thing that I really wanted to point out. I mean, all those people calling us snowflakes. I mean, hello, calling a guy who beat cancer. I mean, I had to tell my children that I might die a snowflake. Yeah. I mean, how ridiculous is that? So,
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think the haters and stuff that come up with that, I've discussed this with other people in other situations. I would say we have a saying over here, an analogy, the one squeaky wheel out of the 2,000 shopping carts at the store makes the most noise. I think that probably a majority of people, I would say a majority of people don't care about politics, to be honest. Yeah. I would say that you're going to have a small number of people make the most noise about it. I know some of the people that commented in there that don't even go to Progpower. But I think if you're going to, the people that just don't care about that and bought a ticket just because they wanted to see you, I think if those would be the people that are the happiest. But the one thing I will tell you, I want people to know this, and I said this in one of my podcasts, that you and I have always discussed things like, and I kind of outlined why you guys and some of the reasons why and how people in Germany view things. So I don't really need to go into that here, but you and I have always, if we've ever had a discussion, it's always been very civil. I have had more civilized discussions about politics with people not living in this country than people living here. Because when I talk to some friends of mine in Germany or in Japan or anybody that I know, there's no name calling, there's no BS involved here. Like if I say one person on one side does one thing, suddenly I'm a snowflake or I'm a libtard or I'm a Trump-tard or whatever you want to call it. And that's how it is over here. But with people like yourself and people that I know from other countries, none of you act that way towards me. So I'm just speaking from my own personal experience that I have had more civilized discussions with folks not living here than people living here. And I think the fact that you haven't said, hey, you haven't changed your mind and said, yeah, I regret this or whatnot. I think that's the best thing you can do, because, you get these people that, they come under all this fire and people start name calling them and things like that. Then all of a sudden they change their mind. Oh yeah, I regret this. But with you, you haven't done that, which you're standing behind what you said. And, regardless of whether people disagree with that, there's something to be said for standing your ground on, your decision to not, want to come here, or any decision that you make for that matter. So I just want to let people know that I've watched some of the comments. I think it's gotten pretty stupid at this point, but I would say that for you and my encounters with you over the years, I couldn't imagine listening to a band for 25 years and suddenly, he doesn't want to come to the States, and suddenly getting pissed about it and stopping. I mean, I think that's silly and ridiculous, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've taken that into account, of course, that would happen, that people probably would discontinue listening to Iron Savior. But on the other hand, if it's like that, then I cannot change it, because I cannot. Well, I mean, I have to stick to my thoughts, to what I believe in, and of course, I just did not feel welcome, and well, safe is a big word, but there are reports that even people with completely 100% paperwork getting detained because ICE finds an anti-Trump post on their cell phones. I mean,
yeah,
and I would have a lot, Yeah,
no, I got you. Well, there's an old saying though. I will tell you this, and I brought this up in one of my podcasts. I said this. There's the old Gene Simmons quote. There is no such thing as bad publicity, because I can tell you that there were more people probably checking out who you guys were. I know this wasn't your intention, but because that post blew up. Yeah. And there were people I had people messaging me, man, this band's actually pretty good. I never heard of these guys before. And I think that post got into the algorithms, and suddenly you had people checking the band out. I'd be interested to see long term if it gained you any followers, because like I said, granted, it caused a bit of a stir, as we say, but I mean, that post had I had to have a lot of reactions looking at, if you look at the stats, the social media traffic. It probably ended up getting people to check the band out.
Yeah, I mean, that of course wasn't intended. As I mentioned before,
if
I would have done it my way, I wouldn't have opened up this discussion. I would have said, we cannot come. Very sorry. Maybe visa issuing problems, which wouldn't be a lie, because they're having awful troubles, in putting together visas, and maybe we would have now canceled anyways, because the visa processing wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and not only that, but the amount of money last year they raised the amount of fees. I can't remember how much it went up. It went up a lot though, but we can end it off on
the problem. I think the general problem is that I mean, I'm only a symptom. I'm not the cause. I only, on a band like Iron Savior, it shows that the United States at the moment have an image problem in the world. I mean, I just posted recently. I posted this article from one of the most important magazines here in Germany, The Spiegel. Do you still want to go there? Answer: no, you don't want to. I mean, you're losing $70 billion in tourism, because people are not coming anymore. People don't go to Florida anymore. Now Los Angeles, you want to go to Los Angeles and be part of riots and look at National Guards? No, you don't want to go there, And somehow, in a weird way, the United States have become something like a crisis area, where you better stay out and go someplace else. And I don't know. I mean, for me, it's really sad because that you know how connected I'm to your country, and I really love the United States, and so it breaks my heart to see that. Honestly,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why I'm so involved and so emotional about that. Unlike others who maybe are not so connected to the States. But my stepfather lived is born and raised in California. My mother lived for over 30 years in San Francisco.
Sure.
And of course, San Francisco and California is not the States. I know that, but you know what I'm talking about.
It's not boring like Ohio. You come here, nothing happens. There's nothing going on. Like it's funny when you look at it, it's really funny. There was a map that somebody came out, like what states do most people from Europe visit? And the states that were on there, it was New York, it was New York, Florida, and California. Yeah, and that was literally what it is here. Like if you come to Ohio, I mean, it's very boring. You don't have all that stuff going on. So we don't see stuff like that. It's just that East and West Coast is where a lot of the craziness in the country comes from. But no, I understand where you're coming from on it. But hey, everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching. And if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video. And if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.